mean, how do you even know you had abilities? What were some of the first experiences you had that made you think you did have abilities?
I never went into this believing that I had abilities. I was in search of answers to prophetic dreams that I was having. It was suggested to me that there might be someone at the spiritualist church who could answer my questions about my dreams.
So you were having prophetic dreams. I think me and probably our viewers or listeners, podcast, would love to know an example of one of those dreams if you're comfortable sharing.
Sure. So these dreams started for me when I was around my late 20s, I guess, or mid-20s maybe. And they were dreams that I would have about myself, although they were prophetic. In other words, the reality would catch up to the dream at some number of years later. So, for example, the first prophetic dream that I recall, that I actually recorded in my diary, it was my first night in Tokyo. I was in Japan on a one-year program, and I was headed to Okinawa to teach in the school system there. But we had our orientation in Tokyo, and that night I had a dream that I was in this small office. So in this particular dream, it was my first night in Tokyo. I was there for an orientation. I was going to be an English teacher in Okinawa for the year. But this dream was of me in a small office. I was there with like 4 or 5 other people, and then there were 2 people standing in the doorway, and they were talking to us, and we were all listening. And anyway, I woke up from that dream curious because it was so vivid. It was like watching a movie, but I didn't know anybody in the dream. They were all strangers to me, but it stuck with me, and I wrote about it because I have a dream journal, and I like to record my dreams. And 2 years later, this dream actually came true. In between then, I had done my year in Japan, and I had gone back to the U.S. to do my master's in teaching English as a second language, and returned to Japan, but this time to the mountains to work for Seiko Epson as an English teacher in their corporate program. And it was during this very first week that this scene played out. I was in this little room, the teacher's room, and the 2 administrators of the program were standing in the doorway, having just come from a meeting with the management, and were reporting back. And when that happened, the hair on the back of my neck just stood up, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is the dream. These are the people.
So to clarify, it was the exact same people in the exact same space.
Yeah.
It matched. Like you even recognized the people exactly.
Yeah. I realized that, oh my gosh, this is it. So that was like 2.5 years later, probably.